Good morning, everyone. Well, it's been a long year, but it's finally time to go do some tractor hunting. We got a line on a Husqvarna. We're paying a little bit more for this one than I would really like to normally shell out, but it should be a quick flip tractor, so we'll see what we get. We got the truck loaded up. We're all set. We got our planks. We need to put some new boards on later this year. And unfortunately, the battery compartment setup, the fender when it fell off ended up putting all kinds of salt and stuff up into there and ruined the winch setup in the back a bit. So we're gonna redo that later, but let's go get some tractor. Yep. Alright, so it runs really good, actually. Sounds very nice. As you can see from the front, it's got a few problems. As you can see right here, we've got the connecting rod snapped out. That's no biggie. I mean, we can make another connecting rod in a matter of a few minutes, or I probably got a spare. So inside, we've got a Kawasaki XP series 15.0. Runs really good. We got a decent battery, cranks right over. Nice Napa battery, regular standard 185 cranking amp. So running engine, good battery, drives, seat is junk. So why is the guy selling it? Well, I'm pretty sure he started running into a few major issues. The first of which is this steering. If I grab this and I really put some weight into it, okay, there we go. That's a whole 180 pounds. Something in the steering is absolutely totally buggered. I don't know what's bent, what is ludicrously out of place or what, but something in the steering is really buggered up, which is why we still have the deck off of it. The other thing that's interesting is when it's running, you can't kill it. You have to actually choke it in order to kill it. The other thing is that the PTO, which is this knob here, does not engage. But if you take this little PTO tester that I built in another video, I'll post a link down in the description below, and you listen, so the PTO obviously works. So somewhere between the wiring that connects to the PTO and the PTO switch, we've got a quibble. Otherwise than that, what we're going to do at this point is I'll show you it runs, and then we'll start trying to fix a few things. Also, another interesting note is that I'm wondering what's in the oil in this, because when you shut it down, it smells as if it's burning automatic transmission fluid. And it specifically is coming from the exhaust. So there's something else going on with this that we're going to have to figure out later. Alright, so the part we have here is the steering knuckle that we pulled out of it, and see, your steering should be like this. You should be able to push it with a finger and have it move. no problem. So this is what you see when you're looking down through the tractor. This is where your steering shaft goes. And this is the piece underneath. But what we discovered on this one is it's solid. Inside of this piece here, it is absolutely seized solid. These are not meant to go and be an accessible piece. They're not meant to be greasable. What I think I've decided that I'm going to do, because it's casted aluminum, is I'm going to try to PB blaster it, and then if that doesn't work, I'm going to drill a hole through the side of it, try to fill it up with some grease or PB blaster, and then that way I can tap a screw into it and then grind it off afterwards if I do it that way. But the first thing we're going to do right now is just PB blaster the snot out of this and try and go up and down on it with a hammer a couple of times and hopefully not snap it. Luckily, I've got a spare. Alright, so if you've been around the channel long enough, you know I always try and come up with average Joe methods. Really, I could probably grind off this, mark it, press it out with my press, clean it out, put it back in, re-weld it, make sure I've got all the angles right, all that kind of fun stuff. But instead, what I've done is taken this old F150 lug nut. This is off my old 85 that I had. I've welded it onto the top of this. We got a nice good old-fashioned breaker bar. And we're just going to have that back and forth. Now this is put on with a $100 Chinese welder set to its strongest setting. I'm not really sure how well we're going to be able to hold it, but we'll try. Well, we're moving the entire bench around rather than moving this around. Okay, try again, this time a little bit. Or not. Oh, there we go, we gotta move. Now we just gotta get the bench this time. Hold on, I gotta go and light this up for a second. Alright, now we gotta light this up one more time. Oh, you know where we have I never got to the okay. Yep. Yeah, that's right from yesterday. Yep. Come on. Hold up. So I'm not sure if you can see it on video, but there's literally chunks of rust falling out through here as I'm working on going back and forth with this. We're going to go back and forth a few more times and then go from there. Alright, so as it sits right now, we need to go and put a bolt into here, but it should be all set. Nice and easy. No problem. Alright, so here we are. Just about to go and put the steering wheel cover back on. But basically, as you can see down there, there's our lug nut attachment. So you can see there's no movie magic here. And we managed to beat the snot out of it back and forth, lube it all up. And we got left. And we got right. And it's even a palmable steering. So that experiment, I'm calling a success. There we are, we managed to revive what is supposed to be a non-greasable part. Moving on. So we got the front deck assembly put back together. We've got everything in. We're gonna try and test and see if we can fire it, except for the PTO switch isn't quite working correctly. But the one thing I wanted to point out right now is you guys should be really glad that we don't have smell-o-vision. And the reason being is because we ran this motor for a little bit and now it absolutely reeks of dead. I'm pretty sure we're going to pop this cover and we're going to find a mouse nest. I've been seeing little pieces coming out here. You can see some mouse nest coming out around the inside of the spark plug. So I'm betting that when we pull this shroud off, either somebody's dead or somebody's cooked or something. But we'll get to that in just a sec. Right now we're going to see whether this deck will engage and go from there. So earlier I said something about a rat's nest, and so we took this and we double checked it and everything seems to be perfectly fine. Then we found the kill wire coming out of the motor and we tried grounding it out and it still wouldn't shut off. By the way, if you want the part number for that ignition switch, I'll make sure it's in the description down below. So we took off all of our covers and we're going to see. My bet is there's a mouse nest in here and that the kill wire is either grounded out, cut off, or something inside here. But I'm going to bet the mouse chewed through the wire. And there we go. So there we are. We've got our mouse nest and some sort of packed in clay. So we got one coil. We got the other coil. Now here's our grounding wire, and our grounding wire looks as if it's connected on this side. And it looks as if it's connected. So if we follow it back through, we should find it here. Because this is, oh, right there. Snapped right off. Yep, that's what was going on. So the reason we could hear the really weird cycling coming out of this motor is because it was literally running off of this side when this side was killing. So that's the reason why the motor was sounding so strange. So we're gonna see if we can reground this and try it again. Alright, so at this point, we've done some Frankensteining. Here's the original, and it just plain is rusted to the point there's nothing left to get a hold of, and it probably wouldn't have kept working for very long anyway. So what I ended up discovering was that if you look at it, and then you look at this one, this is actually a Kohler one. It's off of a 14 horsepower Kohler that came on these Craftsmans also at one point. But I noticed that if you took this and you sliced it off, you got this. And then I noticed that the drill holes were slightly smaller on the Kohler one than they were on this Kawasaki one. So I drilled them out a little bit and I put them on and I made sure that this looks as if it's lining up. And now we're going to see if it'll run. So we're going to stomp this. We're going to grab this ignition and we're going to turn it and see what we get. Well, how about that? Kawasaki coils and Kohler coils are the same thing, just with slightly bigger drill holes. Who would have guessed? So I'm sure at this point you'd like to go and see what it looks like all finished up. Now it's not the prettiest tractor, but with a little bit of scraping down and a little bit of paint, I think it could look pretty decent again. The next owner will probably have to go and work on that a bit, but it came out okay. Now, up in here, I'll post up what the actual cost of repair was and everything. You should see that it ends up coming out to around $220, $240 or so, depending on whether you want or don't want the seat cover. Because right now, the seat cover is currently covering up a basket case of duct tape. It just was too far gone to be able to tape up nicely, so I bought these. I really like these Max Powers. I'll make sure there's a link in the description for these. They're nice, they're comfortable, they're waterproof. They're about 20 bucks and they last about a season and a half or so. But for $20 a year, you don't have to swap out anything. It works pretty good. So here we go. Let's pop the hood. We got the Kawasaki XP series all nicely cleaned up and ready to go. Now, there's going to be an upcoming video on doing the air filter, the oil change on this. I'll be getting that done before I end up selling the machine, but as it is right now, it runs beautiful. Now the battery here, I made my own custom little battery bracket. I've done this several times on these Husqvarna and Craftsman setups. But all you do is just take some of these self-tapping screws that normally come out of frame rail pieces. You put a little piece up and over, you bend it nice and tight, and then you drive another one down in here with an impact and the battery stays put. Not too big of a deal. Apparently I missed a spot. So there we go. It's all cleaned up, ready to go. Now, on a machine of this nature, if the paint was in better condition, up here in Maine where I am, I could probably retail it for somewhere around $500. Up and running, sharpened blades, ready to go, nice engine with a tune-up and an automatic. Unfortunately, with the paint job the way it is, the seat is just too far gone, and the stickers starting to go and come unwound. I'll probably get around $400 for it. But still, when you consider the original $240 investment, $400 is a nice chunk of change. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Keep the tractor hunts going.